For anyone that's listening that's a parent, I believe that the most important thing for all children is martial arts. Like as far as like what kind of sport, what kind of activity do I put my children in? Children are going to gravitate towards different things, but martial arts provides like a like a good martial arts school with a good instructor, not like a wishy-washy one.
All right.
But they provide something that sports only provides in a certain like one or two dimensions, like sportsmanship. So there's usually some kind of ethic, but it's not necessarily like built into the frame of the actual sport. Because then there's egos and you know, depending on what kind of coach you have, and just like the egocentricity of American sports culture. But with martial arts, there is an ethical, moral framework that's built into it. And that's just as important as building the body, right? So there's this mind-body connection, and it just helps develop children's foundation better than anything that I've seen. And growing up in martial arts for me was amazing because I didn't have a father growing up. So it actually gave me structure, and it gave me kind of the masculine template that I never got from my father.
What is developed? What would you say is developed in somebody when they learn martial arts? Past the sportsmanship, the stuff you're talking about, what's really being developed?
If it's done correctly, and someone's challenged enough in the right way, it definitely develops a moral compass. Which is such an issue in our world right now. Right. And it definitely did for me. It showed me the line between right and wrong. And that in our world there's kind of like moral relativism. So like people don't even want to think that there is a right or a wrong. Like no, there's no right, there's no wrong, there's no good or evil. It's all just, you know, it's whatever you want it to be. It's like no, actually that's not. I don't think that's correct. I think there is a right way and there is a not right way, and it helps build integrity.
How does martial arts develop that for somebody?
Well, I think it's like anything, right? It's like the discipline and dedication to stick with something and to voluntarily challenge yourself to grow is going to naturally build that sense of right or wrong. It's not so much like just like a moral, but it's more of a personal morality. Like, so for me, going to the dojo, whether I felt like it or not, was the right decision. Because that was my commitment. So it teaches you a lot about the essence of commitment. Like what it means to actually make a commitment. You know, obviously with like something like a belt system, you have progressive goal setting. So that's amazing for children and teenagers,
right?
Because they can have something they can aim towards, so it keeps their dopamine system, you know, focused on a positive, progressive outcome that they have to work towards and become another version of themselves by acquiring new skills. The other thing too that's coming up is, not aside, but with all of that, what martial arts did for me is it helped develop an indomitable spirit. Like, where no matter what happens in my life, no matter what challenges come my way, I will rise through it. I might got knocked down, I might lose the battle, but I will not quit. Even when I want to quit. Even when I had suicidal ideations at one point, even when I was depressed, even when I thought the world abandoned me or I had no money, I didn't know how to make money, whatever the situation was, there was something in me that just kept saying, no, keep going, stay awake, stay awake, stay awake. And I think a lot of that, for me personally, came from my upbringing in martial arts.
Would you say there's a certain aspect of martial arts that developed that?
It's hard to say because and then it brings in the conversation of like, well, it's in you or not, right? It's either in you or it's not in you, because and that's like an interesting philosophical conversation, because being a fighter, you know, being a martial artist and being a fighter aren't necessarily the same thing. For me, I was both a martial artist, meaning that I was, you know, I didn't go the MMA route because I wasn't just a fighter. Like the art, the actual art, the forms, the presentation, the tradition, the philosophy, all of that was central to me. I was just as much attracted to that as I was the martial art part of it, the physicality part of it. And so like I was a fighter who fought, but I also was a martial artist. So it's kind of that, and that's the ideal kind of combination, because that basically is like the badass who also has restraint.
Yeah.
Who also will only use it, like the samurai, who is the most deadly adversary, but you'll never know it unless you have to, and if you have to, it's already over.
Right. Do you find people starting martial arts for that aspect of developing themselves, or
I think that was 99% of the case. Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like they come in and I want to learn how to kick ass and all of that.
Even if that was, it was still because they, it's like I want to learn how to kick ass because I don't feel confident. Right? I'm not confident.
This was a conscious thing among students that joined, would you say, or
give or take. Nobody really came in saying that I wanted to kick ass. That wasn't like the predominant.
Like, would they say like? I mean, I bet I'm sure they probably don't say that.
Yeah,
it would sound like disrespectful. They may say something like, "I want to learn how to defend myself in case I'm in a situation."
And I think that's more. I think that was more to the point.
Yeah.
Like the confidence. So that's another thing I want to mention. The reason why martial arts is so important for children is that it teaches them how to defend themselves. Everybody should know how to defend themselves. That should be part of just like your natural birthright. Like especially in our world, like to be prepared to, and the confidence that comes about when you know how to defend yourself. You just walk differently, you think differently, you naturally tend not to put yourself in situations where you would have to do that, or just kind of like unconscious behavior. There's a different confidence that people that know how to fight have than people who don't. Martial arts for men, I think, if speaking like good men, it increases that protective quality. And if we learn to train ourselves to a point of like self-mastery, then we know that we don't really actually need to use it unless absolutely necessary. It just becomes more of like a certain attitude.